Welcome to another day of Ether Rays. We're going to do some recaps once more of some matches that were played about a day or so ago. Actually, right around the banner reveal, the latest banner. So that's timeline for where we are right now. And yeah, I feel like this is probably my favorite team for this season. It's going to be an adjustment when Celica is gone, but at least I think the next rotation is Thor, and I think Thor can maybe work, but it's a lot of blue. But also Thor is the only one Soth, but Soth is kind of bad. I don't know, we'll figure it out when we get there, see which one of them actually makes sense. But yeah, Celica is going to be a big miss on this team once the rotation is up, and it's going to be up to me to figure it out. But I really like this team. The action economy is really, really good. I don't think that's what I wanted to say, but I couldn't think of the superlative that fit in there. So we're just going to go with good for the time being. So this is pretty straightforward. Attack here on Valley, and then figure out the rest from there. Shouldn't be too difficult to break through the terrain, the gaps, everything else. Probably going to try to lock out Triandra. But yeah, this one should be pretty straightforward. So I'm just going to let it play here. There wasn't too much of a threat here. Boulder would be able to clear the majority of the threatening units here. And then in conjunction with like I said, Mythic Lyn, who is fantastic apparently, or surprisingly, or I don't know, now we know. But yeah, Mythic Lyn is really good, so she pretty much takes care of Hector. And then from there, Adlegaard's gone. Maybe we lose this beach, but I doubt it. We should be able to get Celica as well. So everything here is pretty, pretty fine, pretty swell. We're gonna do okay here. So let's go over the banner in the meantime. Okay, who was on the banner? Okay, Eliwood. Okay, so we finally got another Eliwood ult. This one looks good, I guess. I don't know, I'm kind of disappointed that it doesn't have the dragon effectiveness at least. That's kind of an Eliwood thing. Or maybe it was just the Lance version.
Adjust task.
Yeah, probably just the Lance version of him. He does have the bonus doubler thing though, so I guess that's cool, but I don't know, man. I'm just not like very excited by this armored unit. What am I saying? Cav. Especially since we're still not in a Cav meta, we're still heavily in a flyer meta, and mobility is still a massive problem for Cavs when it comes to getting around the terrain, and that specific map selection is still a big pain to deal with. So yeah, don't really know if he's going to be like a meta unit. I don't think so. I think he does enough damage to potentially fill in that gap. He could potentially maybe take out Hector even. Although I don't think that would make sense canonically. I think it should probably be a tie, since it was never really stated that one was stronger than the other. They both have like a win draw loss record that's pretty equal or even at the very least. So I don't think that would make sense. But probably strong enough to potentially do it. And probably every other threatening unit that we have problems with, he should be able to handle them as well, since he's new unit and new unit wins. So yeah, I don't see him. Doesn't look like he's going to be lacking when it comes to firepower, is ultimately what I'm saying. So cool. And then he's got the Nurgle thing where he ignores what Nurgle does, so that's cool too. But I mean, overall, I'm just not melee Cav. Another melee Cav, really. Nothing really excites me about this particular unit. If he had the beast and dragon effectiveness, then that would probably put him over the top. But without it, with just the bonus doubler and the Nurgle anti-essence string thing, it's just nothing special, really. The Nurgle thing, I mean, of course they were going to do that. I mean, Why would they not? Since Nurgle is very, very strong in the current meta of the game, without the Snake Sisters, yeah, Nurgle was definitely able to do his thing, but really it wasn't necessary. There hasn't been like a massive upsurge.
Follow my example.
Relatively speaking, because you know the meta players are indeed using him, so take that for what you want. But like, just for like the regular player base, it's probably not like a huge inclusion like that Nurgle is in their team. It's not like that much of a reason to put out a hard counter in comparison to someone like Elise that is literally everywhere. So yeah, wasn't a necessary addition in my opinion. For him to be able to do that, and now he's able to pass that out as a skill that is inheritable by primarily calves, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, or melee flyers. I think it's just melee calves.
What do I do?
Yeah, it's whatever, man. It's not like unless you know that we're gonna get more essence drain, then it could be something that I'd probably look at and say, oh, you know, this is actually interesting now. Kind of like the Silent Ward situation, but the thing about Essence Drill, you know, that could probably be it. Because we've gotten to the point where there's so many bonuses in the game that it just feels bloated and like we've gotten to the point where we're dependent on it in a sense to make a lot of the units that we have function. Boulder is an exception, and this Celica is also kind of an exception as well. I don't really notice a ton of bonuses on her, aside from I think her A skill has some probably, but yeah, there are still a few units that don't give out or have a ton of bonuses, but still benefit from the addition or inclusion of those bonuses on them. So it could be that we're getting to the point where bonus stealing with someone like Nurgle or a ult of someone like Nurgle is coming upon us. Haven't really seen that outside of like what game would that unit be from, you know? Normally I like to have at least one person from every game be able to do a specific thing, you know, like the Gale Force thing with Edelgard. You have Golvig from Heroes who can do that, or let's say Makaya's armor effectiveness. There's a few units who are able to do that as well. So spread across different games, of course. So I'm assuming they're probably thinking that someone else should be able to utilize Essence Drain in a similar vein to Nurgle and not just Nurgle and Sonya. So maybe we're going to get another unit that is able to do that from, let's say, Engage or something. Maybe we're getting Sombron. That could be a good thing. Removing bonuses, Sombron. Ooh, Mythic, end of month. That would actually pair really well in terms of actually planning a schedule and making something that makes sense. Putting together something that makes sense. That's actually not a bad idea, but I don't know if they've actually thought it through to that extent. So it's to be seen if that's exactly what they do, but I actually like that thought process, that we're actually going to be getting something that will necessitate us having this outcry dose, this not outcry dose, essence drain skill. It will probably getting something that will require us to have it, but I don't know, it's just me speculating. I'm not 100% sure if that's actually where we're going with this, but I mean, if that doesn't happen, then this skill is just a luxury and it's completely unnecessary. Yeah, we'll see what IS cooks up, but for right now, this Eliwood kind of feels like a skip, and I would love to skip, but I actually need a unit from that banner so that I can play Ether raids with a bonus unit. I don't know, maybe there'll be another option from, you know, because you have like the Alphons and the Sharenas, but I never use those because why would I do that? So I don't know, let's see what comes up, but hopefully I can get someone from that banner that will actually help me out. We're done with this one. We're going to take out Shriandra here and then load up another match and talk about the unit some more. I felt like I spent this entire video talking about Eliwood when he's not even that great. GG's. Let's play one more. Alright, so this match here was a loss, and I had to cut this one down, chop it up because it's quite lengthy, just so that everything fits. And yeah, this was a pretty long match, but ultimately what led to my defeat here was the fact that I just wasn't 100% focused for this one, which I feel like I hate. I don't want to have to expend that much thought process in clearing a map, but that also means that it's a good map. So, you know, fair on my opponent. They did a good job putting together the map that they the defense that they have laid out here. So I guess I probably should, you know, commend them for that at the very least. But yeah, this took a lot out of me in terms of just time spent putting together a strategy to get it to, you know. But yeah, let's go over the things that actually made this defense a bit more challenging to deal with. So we start off with the massive threat range here from the new Harmonic, I believe, unit here. We got the Celica as well with the extra range. We got a revamped Rhea, completely swapped out the kit, which is kind of weird when I first looked at it. I still think it's weird at this point to revamp her kit that much, but if that's the unit that you have invested, then, you know, why not think of ways to expand the life cycle of that unit? So I guess fair enough there, but I still think her, you know, initial kit is overall just better. If you wanted someone with the shield fighter, just, you know, use Alfred or something. But again, you know, it's what you have that you can work with. So that's just me nitpicking. So we jump here to turn 3, waited for the bonus unit to come out here, which is Ather. My plan here is to target Hector, but I kind of went about it the wrong way. I probably should have danced Boulder before repositioning, but I decided to reposition first and then get the favor and the debuffs so that, you know, Boulder could potentially swing, but she failed to get the KO, so I had to burn a dance with Peony, which was ultimately the first indication that I was just making bad decisions here, because again, I wasn't 100% focused. Boulder would have been able to do it if she wasn't debuffed, but that would have required me to swap up with what's her face, Lynn, and then, you know, try to reposition afterwards, making things a bit more awkward. So the debuffs here, you know, preventing Boulder from winning this matchup, unfortunately. The miracle is actually what's keeping Hector alive. The miracle from Valley. It's actually very important for him to live this attack here from Boulder. Now, I swung here just to get rid of the Lin Ring. I use a Lin Ring snipe here just to get rid of the future focus, or the foresight snare rather. That I feel like was probably my big mistake. I should have positioned a bit better, because Ather did have an additional move left, or a few additional moves left, so I should have positioned a bit better to take advantage of the end action mechanic that she has available, because I could have utilized it to shut down Valley, which is the unit that in the end kind of ruined the run. But you'll see that as this plays out. But yeah, like I said, massive threat range from my opponent here, with the 2 red units. Valley here covering additional space as well with the charge, and Hector having mobility as well. Again, I'm still not a big fan of that charge skill, but it does have that +1 movement, which I kind of overlooked in its analysis, but I'm not like a huge fan of it. I'd trade the +1 movement for just pass, so that I could then run Celica Ring and warp around, or just get, you know, warp support well, you have the warp support, it's just in a straight line. You don't have the +1 movement, but I would trade the +1 movement for being able to have pass instead. Pass is just overall better. But yeah, not being in the B skill, of course. But yeah, the threat range meant that I wasn't really able to, like, without the safety fence, I probably would have lost this, to be honest, because we'd be forced to try to tank it, and I don't think we'd be able to tank this new red unit here, the new Erica. I don't think we'd be able to tank her, since, again, I have no tanking teams available. All of my teams are player phase for light season now. There is one that I'm just not the biggest fan of, but I'm still trying to figure out what to do with that one. But yeah, there are no more tanking teams available for me. So that would have been an automatic ladder. So thankfully we have plenty of player phase options, mostly Boulder of player phase options, going in and attacking here. So Hector and the positioning of Ather there, I knew that I was going to attack Hector. So Ather was never going to shut down Heimdallr. Not because of the res check or anything, but because I was also going to kill Heimdallr. So those two kills were pretty much a certainty for me. Value was going to be the one to waste my actions, and that's something that I knew before going into the match. So I should have not attacked from that spot with the Lin Ring. And whenever you see me bust out the end smart action, the smart end action, I turn that off. You know it's a challenging map. But yeah, the positioning here of Ather was really, I think, my biggest downfall. Probably could have played around it, to be honest. Also, Celica here has Kanto control. She needs to go. She's definitely problematic. So, sending Boulder up there to do all of the hard work. This combat right here is why I was like, the shield fighter kind of doesn't make sense on Rhea. And to swap out her kit so much, she probably would have gotten some additional damage reduction. Not that she would have lived anyways, because the Boulder just hits so hard. But yeah, I just don't think it made sense to swap her kit that much. Her kit still is pretty decent, to be honest. Celica was winning the speed check because of the potent. So I was not able to take her out, and I had to burn yet another action to take out the dual hindrance. It's always a bad thing when I have to, instead of taking out the dual unit, I have to take out the dual hindrance, because it's essentially trading breaking a structure for killing a unit. You always want to kill the unit instead, because that just gives you less work to do. You break the hindrance in the hope that you can make up for, or you can compensate by getting some additional actions, but sometimes it just doesn't work out in your favor, and this is one of those times that it didn't. But yeah, I had a ton of actions here, as you can see, playing through. After the hindrance was broken, I was able to do a lot more with my duo buttons and stuff, but I just couldn't get everything to work out perfectly, and it left me in the position where Valley was still alive, and that was a problem. If I had locked down Valley with Ather, then I could have just tanked the enemy Boulder, and that would have been GG's, but I, again, misplayed, not focused, and lost the map. So yeah, that's kind of what happened there, essentially. And I pretty much just spent the rest of the map just trying to recover from that initial mistake. With my button actions here, you got to press them in a specific order so that it doesn't hit the unit that you don't want it to hit. Plumeria being all the way in the back here was also just not the greatest, because she doesn't have a ton of options in terms of who she can dance. The foresight snare prevents her from dancing Ather, and ultimately all she can really do is dance Lin, but I can't really hit anyone with Lin. As of this moment. I mean, I am able to get her further up the map with the Micaiah ring that she has. Actually, no, I just smite her across here, which I thought was a genius play at the time. I smite her across here. But it still just wasn't enough to get me everything that I needed, unfortunately. But yeah, GG's to my opponent here. They built a really well thought out defense, and I would have needed to do better in this situation to actually clear it. I've taken quite a few losses on defense this week in terms of it's about, two of them counted, but there's I think two or one more, I think. And the losses are all player phase, and I don't really know how to counter that. I mean, Heimdall would be more than likely the option, but I don't have her here as Heimdall. I decided not to pull for her because I felt like she was a little bit too toxic for the game, so I decided to stay away from her personally. But she'd actually be pretty good for light and dark season as well, so it's unfortunate that I don't have that particular unit, but the losses again are just like a ton of Gale Force glares and people just playing really, really well overall, like playing the game at a very high level, and it's always impressive to see that. So I don't know if I'm going to do the defense replays, but I just wanted to point that out, that built a new defense. It won a good amount of matches. We'll see exactly how it performs in the upcoming weeks. I'm probably not going to change it again for a little while, so we'll see how well it performs there. But I still think it's actually pretty good. I wish I had gotten some more results from it just to give me a better idea of where it actually is in terms of like, is this a good defense? Is this a bad defense? I'm still trying to figure it out. But there we go. Valley sniping Peony, and that was GG's. I didn't expect her to go that way. I expected her to attack Boulder, but I think she would have killed Boulder as well. But that's how the cookie crumbles there. And I just think this match just highlights how important it is to be careful when you're planning your approach to these types of maps, because the simplest mistake can definitely have you caught up and result in you losing. GG's, see you in the next one.